Vampire Spider-Man, Monster Spider-Man, and Scary Aunt May. These are the 10 weirdest Spider-Man toys ever, Part 2. Number 10, Fists of Fury Spider-Man. This toy is a glorified repaint of any other classic Spider-Man toy. Another toy spawning from the Spider-Man Adventure Hero line. Features Spider-Man in a karate gi, and that's all it has to offer. We'd offer a better explanation, but it's so boring that there'd be nothing to write. Number 9, Spider-Hulk. Surprisingly, this is not the first time our favorite webhead has been granted the abilities of the Hulk. While Spider-Hulk can be seen as really cool on the comic book page, this particular execution of the idea is just ugly. Not much more can be said about it. This might just be the sad result of taking a cool concept from the comic books and messing it up. Number 8, Quick Change Spider-Man. The double identities of Spider-Man and Peter Parker have been at the core of his stories since his inception in 1962. Many toys over the years have attempted to capture this duality with a toy that could change between personas at a moment's notice, but none of which gets as weird as this. While some toys may feature detachable faces or a swiveling head to change personalities, this particular toy brings Peter's head down into his chest with his Spider-Man head popping out to replace it. Pretty scary, right? Number 7, Vampire Spider-Man. Vampire Spider-Man was a toy released with the Vampire Wars toy line. A collection of figures then ran alongside the 1994 Spider-Man the Animated Series. But what's odd about that is the fact that Vampire Wars was never one of the many storylines featured in the then popular show. That's right, the idea of Vampire Wars and a Vampire Spider-Man were found nowhere in the show's 4 years of runtime. So that begs the question, why even make such a gross-looking Spider-Man figure in the first place? Number 6, Monster Spider-Man. This Spider-Man figure looks like the result of a crazy science experiment. This is one of the oddest figures we've ever seen for the sole fact that, besides its color scheme, this looks nothing like a wall-crawling hero. Peter Parker, is that you? Number 5, Anti-Vampire Spider-Man. To no one's surprise, another toy from the Vampire Wars line has made it onto our list. The Anti-Vampire Spider-Man is exactly how it sounds. Spider-Man suits up to fight vampires. Cool in concept, right? Well, it turns out that Toy Biz, the manufacturer of the Vampire Wars toy line, seemed to have been running short of ideas as they equipped Spidey with not a web-based weapon as per usual, but a spinning sunlight blaster. Maybe Spidey should just stick to Doc Ock and Green Goblin. If you think these were weird, things are about to get weirder. Keep watching to find out what's next. Number 4, Future Spider-Man. According to this toy, Spider-Man's going to become a robot in the future? We can't help but question the reasoning for this action figure when the comic books already contain a Spider-Man from the future. First introduced in August of 1992, Miguel O'Hara is the Spider-Man of 2099 and dons a much cooler and more interesting costume than this crazy cocoon spinning neck. If anyone from Marvel is watching, we've just got one question. Was Spidey 2099 not good enough? Number 3, Aunt May figure. This particular figure leaves us asking one question in particular. Why? As much as we love Peter Parker's sweet Aunt May, we can't help but wonder why a figure like this would ever be made in the first place. To make things even worse, the figure looks horrifying. With a jawline like Robert Zarr and eyes that must have seen horrors, this figure does anything but make kids feel safe. Aunt May would be disappointed. Number 2, Bungee Jumping Spider-Man. Ever heard of bungee jumping? It's when people jump down from high mountains with ropes tied to their body. But why would Spider-Man ever go bungee jumping when he can easily swing on his webs? Originating from the Spider-Man Adventure Hero toy line, Bungee Jumping Spider-Man features the younger Avenger in bright yellow clothes and earmuffs. We just hope that Peter isn't wasting his money going bungee jumping when he has webs to do it just fine. Save your money, Peter. Number 1, Scooter Spider-Man. While this Scooter Spider-Man is utterly insulting to look at, it's not actually the first time Peter's been caught on a scooter like this. Peter Parker's scooter was featured on the big screen in both 2004's Spider-Man 2 and 2007's Spider-Man 3. But let's just say this toy doesn't live up to those movie names. Fun fact, at his fastest, Spider-Man can swing through about 2 miles in 5 seconds, approximately 1,440 miles per hour. While a scooter like this maxes out at about 75 miles per hour. Poor choice, Spidey. But it gets even worse. This Spider-Man toy isn't even wearing a helmet. Not safe, my friend. Enjoyed the video? Now watch this one.